Don't call me your girlfriend in public. It's too much pressure, she whispered at a party after 6 months together. So I stopped using the word. At the next party, I introduced someone else as my girlfriend. She heard it. She left in tears. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. I met Emily about 6 months ago through a mutual friends group chat. We were both in our late 20s, living in the same mid-sized city, working corporate jobs that kept us busy but not overwhelmed. She was in marketing, always talking about creative campaigns and networking events, while I was in finance, steady, reliable, the kind of job where you plan ahead and build security. From the start, I was all in. I liked her energy. She was outgoing, quick with a laugh, and had this way of making mundane weekends feel adventurous. We'd grab coffee downtown, hike nearby trails, or just binge shows at my place. I wasn't the type to rush things, but after a couple of months, it felt natural. We were exclusive, or at least that's what I thought we'd agreed on during one of those late-night talks. I showed my commitment in the little ways that matter. Like when she had a rough week at work, her boss piling on deadlines. I'd surprise her with her favorite takeout from that Thai spot she loved, or I'd handle the laundry and chores at her apartment so she could unwind. There was this one time she mentioned wanting to try a cooking class, so I signed us up for one, even though I'm more of a microwave guy. I rearranged my schedule around hers, turning down a work happy hour here and there to make sure we had time together. Hell, I even started listening to her podcasts about personal growth and self-discovery, just so I could join in the conversations. I wasn't perfect, but I was loyal. I didn't flirt with anyone else, didn't keep options open. To me, that's what building something real looks like. But looking back, there were signs she wasn't on the same page. Subtle at first. She'd dodge questions about introducing me to her family, saying things like, "Oh, they're so judgmental. Let's keep this fun for now." On social media, she'd post stories of us hanging out, but never tag me or use captions that screamed couple. I'd brush it off. Maybe she was just private. Then came the comparisons. We'd be out with friends, and she'd laugh about how her ex was this spontaneous adventurer who dragged her on road trips, implying I was too predictable with my weekend plans. It stung, but I'd play it cool, thinking it was just reminiscing. One night, after a date, I caught her scrolling through messages from some guy she met at a work conference. Nothing explicit, but the flirty emojis made my stomach drop. When I asked about it casually, she waved it off. "It's networking, Alex. Don't be insecure." I let it go, not wanting to seem controlling. But inside, it started chipping away at me. Was I just a placeholder? Someone safe until something better came along. The real kicker happened at this house party a friend threw. It was one of those casual gatherings, maybe 20 people, music pumping from a speaker in the living room, drinks flowing in the kitchen. We'd been together officially for 6 months by then, and I felt good about us. As we mingled, I introduced her to a couple of my buddies I hadn't seen in a while. "This is my girlfriend, Emily," I said, smiling, my arm lightly around her waist. Nothing over the top, just natural. She smiled back in the moment. But a few minutes later, when we stepped aside to grab drinks, she pulled me close and whispered in my ear. "Don't call me your girlfriend in public," she said, her voice low but sharp, like she was correcting a kid. "It's too much pressure. We're having fun, right? Labels make everything so intense." I froze, beer halfway to my mouth. The party noise faded for a second, the laughter from the other room, the clink of bottles, it all blurred. "What do you mean?" I asked, keeping my tone even, though my chest tightened. She rolled her eyes a little, like I was overreacting. "Come on, Alex. We've only been seeing each other for 6 months. Calling me your girlfriend in front of everyone? It feels like you're locking me down. I need space to breathe, to figure out if this is what I really want. Don't make it weird." Her words hit like a gut punch. 6 months, and I was making it weird. I'd been the one showing up, planning, committing. Flashback to a month earlier. I turned down a promotion at work that would have meant more travel because she said she hated being alone on weekends. I'd sacrificed that for us, for her. And now, in the middle of a party, she was whispering this. I felt humiliated, like everyone around us could sense the shift. But I didn't blow up. I just nodded slowly. "Okay, Emily. I hear you. No begging, no argument." I excused myself to get some air and stepped out onto the back porch, staring at the city lights flickering in the distance. Why am I not enough? I thought. What did I do to deserve this? The confusion swirled, part hurt, part anger, but I shoved it down. That night, we went home separately. She texted later, "Sorry if that came out harsh. Let's talk tomorrow." But something in me had already started to detach. The next day, we met at a coffee shop near her place. Neutral ground, I guess. She showed up looking casual, like nothing big had happened, stirring her latte with a smile. I sat across from her, keeping my expression neutral. No accusations, no emotional outburst. I wanted to understand, but deep down, I already knew this was the beginning of the end. "So, about last night," she started, leaning in. "I didn't mean to upset you. It's just, I love what we have, Alex. You're sweet, stable. But labels? They add all this pressure. Expectations. What if I'm not ready for that? I need freedom to explore myself, you know? To see if this is really it." "Explore yourself?" I echoed, my voice calm. I wasn't yelling. I was just repeating it back, letting her hear how it sounded. She nodded eagerly, like she was explaining something profound. "Yeah, like, in my therapy sessions, we've been talking about not settling too soon. You're great, but sometimes I wonder if there's more out there. Someone more exciting, spontaneous. Not that you're boring. Okay, maybe a little predictable, but in a cute way. If you really care about me, you'll understand. We can keep things light, no titles in public. That way, no one's trapped." Her logic twisted like a pretzel. She was framing it as self-growth, but it felt like manipulation, keeping me around as a safety net while she eyed other options. The comparison stung again, more exciting, spontaneous. I'd heard it before, subtle digs at how I wasn't like those guys she flirted with online or at events. And the hypocrisy? She wanted freedom, but expected me to stick around without it. I thought about all I'd given up, the late nights helping her with work presentations, the weekends I'd skipped with friends to be there for her. It was unfair, outrageous even. But I didn't lash out. I sipped my coffee, let the silence hang for a beat. "Okay," I said finally. "If that's what you need, no labels in public. We'll keep it casual." She beamed, reaching across to squeeze my hand. "See? You're the best. This is why I like you. No drama." But inside, the shift had happened. Her words had cracked something. I wasn't going to beg for commitment or confront her about the double standards. If she didn't want the pressure of being my girlfriend, fine. I'd stop treating her like one. After that coffee shop talk, I gave her exactly what she asked for: space. No more public displays. No more introductions with labels. But it went deeper. I stopped planning our weekends ahead, stopped prioritizing her schedule over mine. I threw myself into work, hit the gym more, reconnected with old hobbies like reading and pick up basketball with buddies. It wasn't revenge, it was self-preservation. The betrayal lingered, though. I'd sit alone in my apartment some nights, replaying her whispers at the party, the smug way she'd justified it all. How could she dismiss 6 months like that? The confusion ate at me. Days turned into weeks where I'd question if I was too predictable, if I'd missed signs of her emotional wandering. I'd scroll through old texts, seeing the late-night flirts she'd brushed off as nothing. It felt like emotional abandonment, like I was just convenient until she found her upgrade. But I didn't reach out in desperation. No midnight calls, no pleading messages. Instead, I let the silence do the work. I started going out more on my own, bars downtown, group hikes. That's how I met Sarah. She was at one of those trivia nights a friend dragged me to. We clicked instantly. Easy conversation, shared laughs, no games. She was straightforward, appreciated the little things, and didn't shy away from calling things what they were. After a few dates, it felt right. Natural. No pressure, just mutual respect. A couple of months after the party incident, about 8 months total since Emily and I started, there was another gathering. Same crowd, different house. Emily was there. We'd been cordial in group settings, but distant. I showed up with Sarah, and when introductions came around, I said it without hesitation. "This is my girlfriend, Sarah." It wasn't aimed at Emily. It was just true. But she overheard from across the room. I saw her face crumple, eyes widening, then tearing up. She excused herself quickly, slipping out the door. Part of me felt a twinge, but mostly, it was closure. She'd set the rules. I'd followed them. Now, the tables had turned. The fallout hit Emily harder than I expected. Or maybe I did expect it, deep down. After that second party where she overheard me introduce Sarah, things spiraled for her. I didn't go digging for details. I'm not the type to stalk exes online or pump mutual friends for gossip, but word gets around in a tight circle like ours. At first, it was just snippets from group chats or casual mentions at hangouts. She'd jumped into something new right after our casual phase ended, latching onto this guy she'd met at one of her networking events. Let's call him Jake. From what I heard, he was the epitome of spontaneous, a freelance photographer who traveled for gigs, always posting about last-minute adventures on social media. No labels, no pressure, just the excitement she craved. But reality set in quick. Jake wasn't the dream she painted him to be. Turns out, he was unstable, bouncing between jobs, racking up debt, and yeah, emotionally abusive in that subtle, gaslighting way. He'd hype her up one day, then disappear for weeks, leaving her questioning everything. Friends told me she'd confide in them about how he'd borrow money for gear and never pay it back, or how he'd flirt openly with models at shoots while dismissing her jealousy as insecure. It was like a mirror of what she'd done to me, but amplified. She got discarded just like she discarded our relationship. Jake ghosted her after a big fight, blocking her everywhere and moving on to someone younger from his circle. Left her high and dry, emotionally wrecked. Then came the professional hit. Emily's job in marketing? She started slipping, missing deadlines, showing up late to meetings, distracted by the drama. Her boss had warned her before, but after a botched campaign presentation, where she apparently broke down mid-pitch, she got let go. No severance, just a polite email and her stuff in a box. Suddenly, she was jobless in a tough market, scraping by on savings that were already thin from funding Jake's adventures. Her reputation took a nosedive too. Mutual friends, the ones who'd seen her whispers at the first party or heard about her flirty messages, stopped defending her. A couple even reached out to me privately. "Dude, we had no idea she was playing you like that. Sorry we didn't say anything sooner." She became isolated, nights alone in her apartment, scrolling through old photos, realizing her freedom had left her with nothing. It was ironic, really. She'd chased excitement to avoid feeling trapped, but now she was trapped in regret. I didn't celebrate it. Karma doesn't need my applause. But sitting with it all, during those quiet evenings with Sarah or solo runs in the park, I felt the unfairness lift. The confusion from before, the why me, the what ifs, faded. I'd been loyal, undeservedly mistreated, and now the universe was balancing the scales. She unraveled while I rebuilt. A few weeks after her layoff, the attempt started. At first, it was subtle, a text popping up on my phone while I was at dinner with Sarah. "Hey Alex, it's been a while. How are you? Missed talking." I read it, felt a flicker of that old pull, but deleted it without replying. No need to engage. But she didn't stop. The next day, a longer one. "I know things ended weirdly, but I was going through stuff. Can we grab coffee? I could use a friend right now." I ignored that too. Then the calls began. Voicemails left late at night, her voice shaky. "Alex, pick up. Please." Jake turned out to be a total jerk. He used me, just like, well, I get it now. I was wrong about the labels thing. You were stable, good to me. I took that for granted. Call me back. Stable. Good. It was the same backhanded compliment she'd used before, like I was a reliable appliance, not a partner. Her hypocrisy shone through. Now that she was alone, she wanted the commitment she'd run from. I listened to one or two, then started letting them go to spam. But she escalated. Showed up at my apartment building one evening, buzzing the intercom repeatedly. I was home, working on a report, but I didn't answer. Through the camera, I saw her pacing, hair messy, eyes red. "Alex, I know you're up there. We need to talk. I messed up, okay? I need you." Sarah was over that night. She saw the whole thing on the feed. "You okay?" she asked, no jealousy, just concern. I nodded. "Yeah, it's her issue now." We turned off the buzzer and watched a movie instead. But Emily wasn't done. She roped in her toxic crew, friends and family who'd always enabled her. First, a message from her sister. "Hey, this is Mia. Emily's a wreck because of how you ended things. She says you humiliated her at that party. Be a man and give her closure." Call her. Be a man? The nerve. I'd been nothing but dignified. No scenes, no revenge. Then her mom called from an unknown number. I picked up by mistake. "Alex, this is Linda. What's this I hear about you parading a new girl around while my daughter's hurting? She told me everything. How you pressured her with labels, made her feel trapped. Now she's lost her job. Her guy dumped her. You owe her an apology, at least a conversation. Family sticks together. Don't be heartless. I stayed calm. Linda, with all due respect, Emily set the boundaries. I'm respecting them by not engaging. Please don't call again. Click. No sympathy. No, I'm sorry she's struggling. Her well-being wasn't my responsibility anymore. The attempts got desperate after that. Angry texts mixing pleas with accusations. How can you ignore me like this? After everything? You're cold, Alex. I thought you were better than that. Fine, be with your boring new girl. But you'll regret it when you realize no one else puts up with your predictability. Her true colors bled through, the smugness turning to rage, the manipulation flipping to demands. It revealed the emotional shifts, from entitled to exposed, power in her hands to none. I blocked her number, her socials, everything. Peace returned, but I knew it wasn't over. Not yet. The final nail came at our mutual friend Tom's wedding. A beautiful outdoor venue on the outskirts of the city, string lights twinkling as the sun set, laughter echoing from the reception tent. I'd RSVP'd with Sarah months ago, before all this blew up. Emily was there too. Tom was one of those neutral friends who'd stayed out of it. I spotted her across the lawn during cocktails, dress rumpled, makeup smudged, nursing a drink alone while others mingled. She looked smaller, diminished, isolated. She approached during the toasts, weaving through tables until she was at ours. Heads turned, whispers started. Alex, she said, voice cracking but loud enough for nearby guests to hear. We need to talk. Now. I've been trying to reach you. Texts, calls, even sent me a. Why are you ghosting me? I was wrong, okay? The pressure thing? Stupid. I see that now. Jake was a mistake. He broke me. But you were real. Stable. Let's try again. No labels if you want, or labels, whatever. Just don't leave me like this. Her words hung there, desperate and hypocritical. No labels. Now she was begging for them. The power reversal was stark. She'd been the one dismissing me, now pleading in public. I set down my glass, met her eyes steadily. No anger, no gloating. Just calm finality. Emily, I said evenly. You said labels were too much pressure. That you needed space to explore, to not feel trapped. I gave you that. Respected it fully. Now, you're here pressuring me? Demanding I fix what you broke. I paused, letting it sink in, mirroring her logic back, exposing the twist. I've moved on. Built a life without that uncertainty. Sarah and I are happy. Real commitment, no games. My job's thriving. I took that promotion I passed on before. Travels, friends, peace. You're not part of that anymore. Not relevant. Goodbye. She blinked, tears welling. But I need you. Things fell apart without. That's not my concern. I cut in firmly. No trace of care for her fallout. Focus on your own growth. Like you told me to. I turned back to Sarah, who squeezed my hand under the table. Emily stood there a moment, face flushing as guests averted eyes, then stormed off, muttering something about heartless. Later, I heard she left early alone. That was it. The end. I've blocked her everywhere, changed my number just in case. Life's upgraded. Sarah's the partner I deserved, valuing what I bring without comparisons. No more confusion, no lingering hurt. Just forward. AITA for handling it this way? Or did I do what was right? Thoughts, Reddit? Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.